What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am Ricardo, your NBA sports journalist, and Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals just happened, and everything we thought we knew about this series has been completely complicated. Because after Victor Wembanyama's historic 41-point, 24-rebound double overtime masterpiece in Game 1, the basketball world was starting to whisper that maybe, just maybe, San Antonio was going to pull off the biggest upset of the 2026 playoffs. And then Oklahoma City came out in Game 2 and reminded everyone exactly why they went 8-0 to get here. The Thunder responded, emphatically, convincingly, and in doing so, they gave us three things that are going to define the rest of this Western Conference Finals series. Three lessons, three realities, three things we now know about this matchup that we did not know going into Game 2. Let me give you all three and then tell you exactly what they mean for Games 3, 4, and beyond. Lesson 1. Oklahoma City's bench depth is not just a strength. It is the single biggest advantage in this entire series. And the numbers from Game 2 prove it in the most definitive way possible. OKC's bench outscored San Antonio's bench 57-25 in Game 2. 57-25. The Thunder's reserve players outscored the Spurs' reserve players by 32 points in one game. In a Western Conference Finals game where every possession matters and every point is precious, one team's bench unit outperformed the others by 32 points. That is not a depth advantage. That is a depth chasm. And the names who delivered are becoming very familiar to anyone who has been watching these playoffs. Alex Caruso. Yes, the same Alex Caruso who warned his teammates about LeBron James back in the second round, the same Caruso whose warning became our biggest video on this channel, went for 17 points off the bench. 17 points. From your defensive specialist. From your glue guy. From the player who is supposed to bring energy and toughness and smart defense, but is not supposed to be putting up 17 points in a conference finals game. Cason Wallace came off the bench and gave them 12 points. McCain, the shooter who has been so reliable all playoffs, gave them 12 points. Isaiah Hartenstein contributed in his role. This is not one bench player having a career night. This is 3 or 4 bench players all delivering meaningful contributions in the same game at the same level. And that is what OKC does. That is what makes them so difficult to beat over a 7-game series. San Antonio simply does not have an answer for this. Their starting lineup, when healthy, is elite. Wembanyama is a generational talent, but their bench cannot compete with what Oklahoma City brings off the pine. And in a 7-game series where starters get tired, where coaches adjust, where late-game situations demand players who can execute under pressure, the bench gap becomes more decisive with every passing game. Lesson 2. Injuries are about to reshape this entire series, and this is where it gets genuinely complicated and genuinely concerning for both teams. Jalen Williams re-aggravated his hamstring in Game 2. This is significant for OKC because Williams is not just a rotation player. He is one of their key contributors on both ends of the floor, a versatile wing who allows them to switch defensively and create offensively. Losing him for any meaningful stretch of games creates gaps that even OKC's deep bench would struggle to fully cover. The reports on his status for Game 3 are going to be one of the most important storylines heading into San Antonio. But here is where it gets even more complicated for the Spurs. San Antonio lost both De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper in Game 2. Fox and Harper, two of the key pieces around Wembanyama that give San Antonio a secondary threat and secondary ball handler. Without them, the offensive burden on Wembanyama becomes almost impossibly heavy. In Game 1, he had help. He had players who could take pressure off him, who could make OKC pay if they sent double teams, who could hit open shots when the defense collapsed on the 7'4" star in the paint. Without Fox and without Harper, what does San Antonio's offense look like when OKC sends 2 defenders at Wembanyama every time he touches the ball? How does he create for teammates who are not as capable of capitalizing on those opportunities? This injury situation for San Antonio could be the thing that swings this series in OKC's favor even more definitively than the Game 2 result already suggested. Depth will be crucial for the Thunder going forward. Health will be crucial for the Spurs. And right now, OKC has more of both. Lesson 3. Isaiah Hartenstein has found the blueprint for guarding Victor Wembanyama, and if it holds up, this is the most tactically significant development of the entire 2026 playoffs. In Game 1, Wembanyama was unstoppable. 41 points, 24 rebounds. Historic, generational. The kind of performance that makes you feel like there is no answer, no defensive scheme, no personnel decision that changes what he is capable of doing. And then Hartenstein happened in Game 2. Hartenstein's physical, aggressive, body-to-body defensive approach against Wembanyama limited him to 21 points and 17 rebounds. Now let me be clear. 21 and 17 is still a spectacular performance. Most players in the NBA would consider that the best game of their career. But compared to 41 and 24 in Game 1, it represents a significant reduction in Wembanyama's impact. And the method Hartenstein used tells you exactly what OKC has decided is the right approach. Instead of trying to contain Wembanyama with quickness or length, instead of putting a switchable wing on him, or trying to use help defense to deter drives, Hartenstein brings physicality. He makes every catch a battle. He makes every post touch uncomfortable. He makes Wembanyama feel his body on every single play rather than operating in open space where his skill and length make him virtually impossible to stop. Can Wembanyama adjust? Almost certainly. He is too talented, too intelligent, too skilled to be completely neutralized by any one approach over 7 games. But the fact that Hartenstein's physical scheme reduced his production from 41 to 24 to 21 to 17 tells you OKC has a real defensive answer that they did not have going into this series. And that changes the series calculus fundamentally. So where does this leave us? The series is tied at 1 game each. OKC has the bench advantage. OKC has the health advantage if Williams can come back and Fox and Harper remain out for San Antonio. OKC has found a defensive approach to Wembanyama that reduced his production significantly in Game 2. And OKC is going home for Games 3 and 4, where their crowd, their environment, their home court gives them yet another layer of advantage. But San Antonio has Wembanyama, and Wembanyama adjusts. The 21-17 game will not define how he plays in Games 3 and 4. He watched the film. He understood what Hartenstein was doing. He is going to come back with counter moves, counter adjustments, counter attacks that OKC will not have seen yet. Popovich will draw up something. Wembanyama will execute it, because that is what great players do when a defensive scheme slows them down. They adapt. This series is 1 game each. It is going to Games 3 and 4 in Oklahoma City. The injuries create uncertainty on both sides. The bench depth advantage belongs to OKC. And the most compelling individual basketball story of the 2026 playoffs, Hartenstein versus Wembanyama, is about to get its most important chapter in front of OKC's home crowd. I cannot wait to see Game 3. I am Ricardo, your NBA sports journalist. Smash that like button, subscribe for Game 3 live reaction from Oklahoma City, and drop a comment below. Does OKC's bench depth advantage or Wembanyama's adjustments matter more in Games 3 and 4? See you in Oklahoma City.